Tales from the Jails with John G. Sutton. Do please, everybody, ladies and gentlemen, do please like and subscribe if you will. And comments. I love your comments. Especially those that insult me. And there's been one or two of them, hasn't there, Larry? Yeah? Anyway, I hope you're feeling well, Larry. You're looking good, actually. I see that by my psychic vision, yeah? Anyway, I'm going to talk today about the anniversary of the Strangeways prison riot, yeah? Because it was 35 years ago yesterday, the 1st of April, when the Strangeways prison riot erupted. I'm going to be dealing with that in my next book. I hope you've been enjoying my books, by the way, everybody. There's a link down below if you want to buy one. There's 3 of them, actually, all about the prisons. The next one is going to start off with the details about the prison riot at Strangeways, which erupted on the 1st of April, 1990. I can remember well when I heard it. There was a broadcast on the television, and it said that Brendan O'Friel, who was the governor at the time, said there has been an outbreak of evil at Strangeways prison. He didn't go so far as to say where the evil was coming from, but I know that Alan Lord and the people who were up on the roof all believed that the evil was coming from the staff. Now, following that, I was interviewed on BBC Radio 4 on the Today programme concerning the riot. And the inmates on the roof heard this broadcast with me telling the truth about why I believed that there was a riot in the first place. Because I'd said that, listen, you can go and watch the BBC documentary. I was telling the staff, you cannot treat inmates like dogs, because if you do, eventually you're going to get bitten. And that's exactly what happened at Strangeways. They bit back and they smashed the place to bits. Subsequently, there was an inquiry, the Justice Wolfe inquiry, and I gave a written submission to Justice Wolfe. I was going to go and speak to the inquiry, but they wouldn't see me. I know why they wouldn't see me, because the one thing that Justice Wolfe and his inquiry didn't want to hear was the truth that the staff were behaving like brutes. And that was at the bottom of the problem. That was the very base of it. You see, the prison at the time had something like 1,700 inmates. It was only built for 900. And that was 100-odd years before it was opened. It opened in 1868. So by the time we got to 1990, well, it was 120, 130 years old. It's just ridiculous that they were abusing the inmates like this. And of course, I blame not the governor, because the governor was doing what he was damn well told to do, but the POA, the Prison Officers Association. They had every opportunity to tell the governor, this staff will not tolerate this disgraceful overcrowding, disgusting, dirty, filthy conditions that you're running as a jail, and it will run to capacity, which is 975, or the staff are going on the other side of the gate. But the POA didn't do that. In fact, the POA, when I was there, were absolutely complicit with the governor in running a regime that was based on fear. And that was the fear of the inmates that they would be uplifted, dragged down to the block and abused. Now, it's no good. I heard a lot of ex-officers saying, that never happened. I was there all this time and it never happened. Open your eyes and see. The prisoners are telling you it happened. I was there and I know it happened. One day when I was a hospital officer, I went down to D1 Landing to deliver some medication, and it would be about 11:30 in the morning, and I was taking the medication for the inmates on D1 Landing who were prescribed. And as I opened the door to go into D1 Landing, there on the floor was a naked man, and the staff were lining up, running up and kicking the man. Now, I won't identify any of the staff for obvious reasons, but I'm telling you that that's what they were doing, and they kicked that poor man so hard that his teeth were smashed, his body was covered in bruises and boot polish that had bounced off the boots of the staff that were kicking him. I took one look at this, put the medication down on the hot plate, ran over to the inmate, got him by the top of his head like that, come here, and I ran him to an empty cell and locked him in an empty cell. I said to the staff, leave that man alone, I'm going to go and get the senior medical officer. And I went and got the senior medical officer. And I came back with the senior medical officer and the principal hospital officer. That was one of the management of the hospital where I worked in the prisons, you see. So I took the senior medical officer to see this inmate in the cell. I said he'd been quite badly injured. I said, I'm not going into how he got these injuries, but I'm telling you he's been quite badly injured. So I opened the cell, and all the D1 staff, they were standing round flexing the muscles, you know. You shithouse Sutton, you know, all that nonsense, yeah? So I took the senior medical officer and shot the bolt and went in. That's the cell door so it didn't slam behind me. Took the ointment and showed him this inmate. And, you know, this shows why there was only one way to deal with that monster that was Strangeways, and that was to do what was done. Smash the bastard to bits. Seriously. The senior medical officer, Luke, examined this inmate. Don't forget, he got his teeth kicked out. He was covered in bruises. He got boot polish embedded into his body where he'd been kicked around the landings. A couple of his ribs had obviously been broken because he was slumped over to one side protecting himself. And the senior medical officer said to me, Mr. Sutton, why am I here? I said, the inmate's injured. He said, I'm the senior medical officer. He said, I can see no injuries whatsoever. The principal officer said to me, my office, 1:30. And they both turned out and walked out. I locked the door, closed the inmate in, and left him to his fate. Nothing else I could do. And as I was going out, the staff on D1 were shouting at me, this isn't a fucking nursing home. This isn't a holiday camp. This is Strangeways. Now fuck off, Sutton. Seriously. You can read that account. It's in my book, the second volume of my book. And I'll be working on the fourth volume about the riots and what happened and why it happened. I got acknowledgement from Lord Justice Wolfe, but they wouldn't see me. There was a demonstration outside the Wolfe inquiry. Bring John Sutton. You know, they were demonstrating to get me in front of the inquiry. And I subsequently wrote a book with Eric Allison, who had been a prisoner at Strangeways. I didn't know him when he was a prisoner, but he was a prisoner at Strangeways who'd been abused, and he wrote a book called A Serious Disturbance. You can get that on Amazon. I wrote part of the book with him. There's a chapter in there. It's got my name on it. It's called A Prison Officer's Story. And it tells about the abuse. And I subsequently was contacted by Alan Rossberger, who was the editor of The Guardian, the national newspaper, who invited me to write a 2,000-word article on the reasons for the riot, and that was published on the 8th of June 1990. You can go into any major public library and research this. The 8th of June 1990, and the title of the article is Loose Screws. Seriously. I hope you enjoy this little rant, but you wonder why the Strangeways prison riot, which occurred 35 years yesterday, and the reason was that the place was seriously abusing inmates, and you can only take so much. This is John G. Sutton, and it's that time of day, folks. Yes, you know the score. That's the song dinger. Yeah, it's a warning bell for all sensitive souls who can't stand the vocals. Well, I'm going to sing you a song now. Seeing as it's April, I'm going to sing you a song that was originally recorded by Al Jolson in the 1930s. Because it's April, this is Al Jolson's song, April Showers. It's not going to be very good, so don't sit there expecting to be lulled into a beautiful dream world, because I ain't got one of them voices, you know. April Showers. Life is not a highway strewn with flowers, still it holds a goodly share of bliss. When the sun gives way to April showers, here's a thought that you should never miss. Though April showers may come your way, they bring the flowers that bloom in May. And if it's raining, have no regrets, because it isn't really raining rain. It's raining violets. And when you see clouds upon the hill, you soon will see crowds of daffodils. So keep on looking for the bluebird and listening for his song whenever April showers come along. There you go. I won't torture you with any more. That's my little rendition for today. Tales from the jails. Like and subscribe. Comments, insults, you give it to me.